Paxton McCall here. More about how you want to become a painter. I left off in the last video, number 123, where I was resigning from my lofty position at the Chevy, Olds, Cadillac, Volkswagen, Audi store. The hours were horrid, and living in Junction City was just a little bit too remote. I moved back to Lawrence, and I started my business of window painting after a 6-week splash art window I could find and learn as much as possible about it. I started dating Margie again, and in a year or so we finally got married after 12 years of on and off again dating. There were very few window artists working in Kansas City then. One guy was a drunk and another one was just plain lazy. Since I knew many of the car dogs, as I called them, I began calling on the new car stores. In no time, I was making more than I was running a Chevy store and had no employees. Worked my own hours and chose who I wanted to please, mainly myself. Within the first several months, Taco Bell. Suddenly, I was running all over painting fast food stores and business was booming. I was also hand painting windshields with fluorescent paint. It gave me a great entrance into many of the car stores, and it was fun work. I had to come up with the sales messages, and I figured out a whole bunch of them. I came up with a list of bad windshield messages also that everyone joked about. Needless to say, they weren't really used that often. Bent frame. No keys needed, lost title, easily towed, 2-stage brakes, Old Smoky. I threatened that if they did not pay me, I would come back at night and have to know it never came to that. I also continued to paint more and more landscapes, considering I had a great landscape professor at KU, Bob Sudlow. I began to sell a few, and started showing some in Santa Fe, as Margie, my wife, and I loved going down there to eat Southwest cuisine and stay at the La Fonda Hotel. It was a great escape, and showing some work was the bonus. By the late 90s, I decided to try to get a one-man show in New York, and made the trek back there to interview 85 galleries. Most of them were ridiculously rude and distant, but I persisted and finally found a gallery in Soho who scheduled a show of my landscapes and narrative paintings. The show, in December of '99, was a success, sold some work, and it was well attended. However, I learned all about how hard it was to get the gallery to pay me. Months passed, and finally a call to the New York Police Art Fraud Unit made the check magically appear. It would have been easy to forget about painting from that experience, but I really did enjoy painting. 2 years later, I leased a space in downtown Santa Fe, 223 San Francisco, and began Paxton and McCall Fine Art. I had to take a deep breath and throw some big cash at the project. $20,000 a month in expenses certainly caused me to paint fast and work every side of the street I could, including many trips back to Kansas City to paint more windows. I learned a lot about how the art business really works from that experience. Unfortunately, there really is not a bridge between consigning work to a gallery and then having to jump into owning one. I saw many come and go with the seasons, and few were really making a lot of money. We struggled, but I did manage to sell 350 of my paintings in 2.5 years, and another 100 of the other artists that we carried. It ended up being a very positive experience. One thing I really proved to myself is how unframed work does not sell very well. I found numerous sources for frames and would buy canvases according to what size my pre-made frames were. Custom frames run a lot more, And although there are many more designs available, I found the pre-made ones were just fine, as long as they looked like what most of the other artists were using in Santa Fe. Then the artists who would come in to seek representation. I saw some real doozies. Some would come in with nice pictures, well-dressed, and were very polite. Some would drag in some big painting and rudely explain how the parking was horrible, and oh, by the way, would you buy my ugly painting? Slowly I began to see how it worked best. In some of my earlier naked artist exposure videos, I go into how it works. Look for the how to get your work into a gallery videos of mine. Lots of little things there to know. I show a lot of pictures of my splash art in this video from over the years. I was very fortunate to find this work to help pay for my Surrey's art pursuit, and I encourage any other artist to find what it takes to survive. If it was easy, everyone would be an artist painter, I bet. Thanks for watching these naked artist exposure videos. I appreciate your comments, and should you have any questions, I'll do my best to respond. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons below, as your following these is causing me to do more. Once again, I'm Preston McCall, and keep painting.